She graduated from Altaloma. So she's going to be coming and speaking. So without further ado, I want everybody to stand on your feet and give a very warm welcome to our very own Jen Bubb. Come on, girl. Come on, girl. Spit that gospel. Spit it. Spit it. Give her another round of applause. Come on, y'all. And then tell her it's all about Jesus. Go ahead.
Hey, it's all about Jesus. Now sit down. Thanks. All right, so if you guys don't mind, sorry, I'm not very, I'm kind of awkward, so hello. If you guys don't mind though, please go ahead and bow your heads, close your eyes. I just want to pray us in real quick before I get us started, so yeah. All right, so dear God, I just want to thank you for today. I just want to thank you for everybody that was able to make it out today, and even for the people that maybe had something happen to where they couldn't make it out. I just pray that you'll be with us while we're in church as well as when we leave, and that we don't forget that, like it was mentioned tonight, that you love us. I ask that you speak through me and let me have an impact, a positive impact on these people's lives. And we give you all the glory, honor, and praise in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, so first thing I want to go ahead and hit you up with is, how many of you guys have something going on in your life right now? And I saw praise and worship, so I better see every hand raised, because I saw that. I was there. All right, so I want to talk to you guys today about healing. And the main reason I want to talk to you about healing is because I've noticed, especially in the past couple weeks, that people have come up and randomly talked to me, and they talk to me about how, like, you know, I have these habits I want to break. I have all these things going on in my life right now, and whether it's at home, whether it's at school, whether it's in your mind, whatever, and they're like, I always ask God to help me out, and, you know, he's just not there for me. Like, why isn't he helping me? I always ask, but he's not there. And a lot of the times when we notice or when we start to think that God's not there, we start to get mad at him because we don't notice that he's there. But today I want to talk to you about why you may not be seeing God, basically his impact on your life when you ask him for help. So if you guys don't mind, please go ahead and, if you have your Bibles or if you have your phones with you or your homie does, please turn to the book of Mark. We're going to look at chapter 10. It's in the New Testament, in case you didn't know. So holler with me when you got it, because I got to get it too. Shoot. I ain't hear no one cheering for Jesus. All right. Thank you. All right, so if you guys go ahead and take a look with me at Mark chapter 10, we're going to look at verses 46 through 52. All right, so what it basically says is, we're going to read it and then I'm going to break it down for you. So verse 46, now they came to Jericho. As he went out of Jericho with his disciples and a great multitude, blind Bartimaeus, the son of Timaeus, sat there on the road begging. And when he heard that it was Jesus of Nazareth, he began to cry out and say, Jesus, son of David, have mercy on me. Oh, whoops. All right, okay. All right, so then many warned him to be quiet, but he cried out all the more, Son of David, have mercy on me. So Jesus stood still and commanded him to be called. Then they called the blind man, saying to him, be of good cheer, rise, he is calling you. And throwing aside his garment, he rose and came to Jesus. So Jesus answered and said to him, what do you want me to do for you? The blind man said, Rabboni, that I may receive my sight. Then Jesus said to him, go your way, your faith has made you strong. And immediately he received his sight and followed Jesus on the road. Now, I want to go ahead and break that down for you guys because there's a couple things in there that I think are really subtle, but not everyone notices it, but it has a huge impact on this story. So if you go ahead and, as it says in the beginning, Jesus is there with his disciples and there's a great multitude with him. And on the road you have Bartimaeus. Now, Bartimaeus is blind. And back in those days, if you were blind, that was basically your profession. People knew you couldn't work because you couldn't see. They didn't have laser eye surgery back then, so, you know, you got to beg. And it's kind of like how nowadays you'll see people who are blind and they have like seeing eye dogs or they have like a cane or glasses. Well, back then you had a special garment that you wore that basically notified everybody that this person is blind. They cannot see. And what would happen is you would make your money off of the giving, all the money that everyone would give to you. That was your way of living. Now, if you want to go ahead and notice that it says basically that Bartimaeus knew of Jesus, the way that a lot of you in here may not necessarily know Jesus yet, but you know of him. And you recognize the power that he has in your life to heal you, which is exactly why Bartimaeus is calling out to him saying, Son of David, have mercy on me. It's not like Jesus just walked by and he's like, oh, whatever, okay. You want to give me some money? It's like, He didn't do that. He understood the authority that Jesus had and the power that he had to heal him in his life. Thanks. All right. But if you look at verse 50, what it basically says is, and throwing aside his garment, he rose and came to Jesus. Now, I just mentioned to you that if you're blind, your garment represents the fact that you're blind. That's why people give you money, because your garment. Bartimaeus is basically throwing to the side his security, his job, his way of living. It's not like he just kind of was like coming up to Jesus like, hey, well, this is the way I want to be. He's not coming up to him saying, can you go ahead and heal me of my sight? But low key, can I keep this so people give me stuff? He's not coming up to Jesus saying, I want to be healed by you, but I want to do it my way. He's casting aside his way of living and his security because he understands that, yeah, this may suck for a minute because now I'm jobless and blind. Jesus hasn't even healed him yet. That shows how much faith he had in him. So he throws aside his everything because he understands Jesus will heal him. And a lot of the times we want to go up to Jesus and say, hey, I don't want to give up that girl because, she's fine. Or I don't want to give up that guy because, he's my boo. And it's like, you're going up to Jesus and asking him for help, but you don't let him help you. And if you look over at verse 51, Jesus doesn't immediately just heal him. And I know a lot of the time when we call on Jesus, we expect an instantaneous kind of like, oh, well, I'm good now, peace. It's like, no, Jesus had to ask him, what do you want me to do for you? And Bartimaeus, having his faith in Jesus, goes ahead and basically says, I want to receive my sight. And if you notice, it beautifully ends up with verse 52, go your way, your faith has made you well. Not your friends made you well, not your grandma praying for you every night made you well, not your ability to do something made you well, your faith in me has made you well. Now, if you knew me when I was in middle school, especially like 8th grade year and stuff, and then if you knew me like my freshman year of high school, I was kind of the opposite of Bartimaeus for like a long time. So instead of me having my faith in Jesus to make me well, I had my faith when something went wrong in my friends. I leaned on my friends, I leaned on my parents, I leaned on art, I leaned on music, I leaned on everything but Jesus because in my mind I'm like, I like the way I'm doing things because I like to be in control. And there comes a point when you're leaning on everybody so much, and then what happens when they go away? You fall. But when you come to know Jesus, what you understand is you may lean on Jesus, but when Jesus leaves and you have to cut the sentence short because he doesn't, you're fine exactly where you're at because Jesus will not desert you. So if you guys are like the way that I used to be, I want to go ahead and have you come over to me. To the book of John. We're going to look at chapter 5 real quick to someone who's like me, because when you go ahead and when you decide not to go ahead and follow Jesus, and when you look at everyone else to make you happy and make you strong and everything like that, when they leave, all you're left with is an excuse. When you lean on everyone else and they go away, you have the excuse now to basically say, I don't want to be made well, and it's like, oh, can you get better? No, because, I can't be faithful because I got cheated on. Oh, I can't have a good friendship because all those people left me. But if you lean on Jesus and actually have faith in him that he will heal you, you have the excuse now to say, it doesn't matter what I'm going on and what's going in my life right now because I have a way of being healed. All I have to do is ask him. So right now, if you've gone over 2 books with me, we're going to look at John chapter 5. We're going to look at verses 5 through 9. And I want to give you guys a brief intro real quick while you're turning there. What's going on now is Jesus right now is not in Jericho. He's not with the disciples. He's not with the multitude like the last illusion we looked at. He's actually by himself. And what's going on is Jesus comes across a pool. And all these people are by the pool, and it's like there's all these sick people, and there's all these like blind people and maimed, and they're just messed up. They have all these infirmities and all these problems. And the reason everyone's hanging out here, it's not like, oh, this is the hot spot. It's like, no, they're hurt, and every day an angel comes down and rustles up the water, so the first person that comes in the water is healed. And Jesus basically, it says, verse 5, now a certain man was there who had an infirmity 38 years. I'm 19. You take my life and double it, he has had that sickness that long. I was sick, I've been sick in the past, and it's like, if it goes on for 20 minutes, I'm like, Dad, can you help me? It's like, 38 years? Nah. So So basically, when Jesus saw him, though, laying there and knew that he had been in that condition a long time, he said to him, "Do you want to be made well?" The sick man answered him, "Sir, I have no man to put me into the pool when the water is stirred up, but while I am coming, another steps down before me." Jesus said to him, "Rise, take up your bed and walk." And immediately the man was made well, took up his bed and walked, and that day was the Sabbath. Now, this story is kind of different from Bartimaeus, because I know not everyone in here is always comfortable with going, or we sometimes forget that Jesus is always there for us, so we're kind of those people that like to settle in our problems because we forget we have that help. Well, that's kind of what's going on here. Basically, if you look at verse 6, Jesus starts out with asking the man, "Do you even want to be made well?" Like it mentioned, he's had this bad problem, he's had this infirmity 38 years. First thing Jesus asks is, "Do you want to be made well?" And you would expect, if you've been sick that long, you're like, "Yeah, I would love to get better." But that's not what happens. The first thing that happens is this man makes an excuse. Because he's not like Bartimaeus. He doesn't realize the person he's talking to. So, basically, wait, what? No, but yeah, Bartimaeus, though, did know Jesus, and he understood the authority that Jesus had where this man didn't. He didn't realize that the person that could heal him of this 30-year infirmity was standing right there and had the capacity to help him out. And so basically, if you look, though, like I mentioned, you would expect him to say, "I would love to get better." But he doesn't. He starts out by saying, "I have no one to put me into the pool." He doesn't even say, "Yeah, I'd love to get better, but I have no one to put me into the pool." And if you've ever heard that phrase, you are what you think about, you bring about, all the thoughts you have, you speak. It reflects basically that this man is so focused on his illness, he's not even caring about the cure anymore. It's basically like he's gone ahead and he's totally forgotten that there's even a chance to get better because he's so used to this kind of illness. And I think a lot of the times in our life, it's like we do the same exact thing. So we want to end up being stuck in our issues, kind of like this man, where it's like you forget that there's a chance to be helped because you've now grown so comfortable in your problems that you forget you can get better. That's the new standard you set for yourself. And we like to think that the only addictions people have are like, drugs, alcohol, stuff like that. But it's like you can be addicted to the pain you let yourself feel. And that's what's going on. It's like you get so comfortable in your misery that you forget that it's misery and you train yourself to think that's happiness. So you won't let yourself get a good relationship. You won't let yourself have all these good things in life because you're like, I'm so used to this person trash talking me. I'm so used to my parents fighting. I'm so used to me hurting inside and being lonely that I forget that that's not how I was intended to be. That someone's there to help me. So you may not be like this man who's had this 38-year physical infirmity, but you may be someone in here who's 16 years old who's had a 14-year infirmity of hate. You may have spiritual infirmities. You may have mental infirmities. You may have emotional infirmities. It's like it's not just this man who's going through this hard time. You may be sitting there with loneliness issues or depression or like anger at everybody. It's not always this physical crippling thing. You may have this just inside crippling that's going on, and you forget to ask for help because you think that that's how you are meant to be, and you're not. And when you let yourself start to feel that way, what you forget is Jesus is already asking you, do you want to be made better? It says it in the Bible right there, I just told you, that Jesus recognized, though, it says, I will read it to you. It says, when Jesus saw him lying there and knew he had already been in that condition a long time. Jesus knows your condition. It's not like he forgot about you. It's just you want to get it done in your way, and you don't want it in his way because that's not the easy way. And as a Christian, you weren't designed to walk the easy way. That's called the world's way. That's not God's way. So every time someone's asking you and offering you all this help now, you'll tell yourself, I want to get better. I want to do this. I want to do that. But when the time actually comes and you're asked, do you want me to make you well? You say, no, I'm cool, thanks. I'm comfortable where I'm at. I want to encourage you guys, though, that one of the most important things to notice here, though, is I just showed you 2 stories where there is someone who basically is calling out to Jesus saying, have mercy on me. And you may not be that person that's saying, have mercy on me. You may be someone that's just showing up to church, but it's amazing that God basically takes this man who didn't even answer his question and just made excuses, who maybe doesn't call out to God in church, but he just kind of shows up, and he still says, you know what, you came to church, and that's enough to show me you want to get better. And I just want to remind you that you may be struggling with a problem. You may be hurting at school. You may be hurting at home. You may be dealing with some issues with your friends or people who now aren't your friends. And I just want to remind you that you can still call out to Jesus and he will heal you. I don't care how long you've had this problem. You just saw someone 38 years old get over it. Why can't you get over it? So I'm not going to go ahead and sit here or stand here and tell you that, you're going to live this easy life, and since I found Jesus, my life's been so. It's like, no, it gets hard. It gets really difficult. Like it was mentioned earlier, when he was saying that he was a preacher, it doesn't mean your life's easy. If that's even a preacher. So I know that me personally, when I hear everyone preaching up here, I like to think, they have it so good because, they're so close to God. So, it must be easy for them because they're so used to it. It's like, no, life is always going to be hard. I've never once heard a preacher tell me their life was easy. And so as a student, I can assume that you're like me where your life isn't always easy. And I'm here to encourage you, though, that you may not be always sitting there crying out to God going, have mercy on me, help me out. But you being here, if you call out to him, he will help you out. So as I'm closing up, whether you're in here and you're someone who is like Bartimaeus, who's like, I'm dealing with this right now, and I want to call out to God right now to go ahead and help me through this problem. Or whether you're someone who's more like the man at the pool who's basically is just making excuses their whole life, saying, I can't get better because. I just want to remind you that no matter which one of the two you are, God heals them. All you have to do is when he asks you, do you want to be healed? Just say yes. So I would like to just do a quick altar call and just say, if you want to come to Jesus for the first time and have him, give him that space to heal you in your life. Or whether you want to go and just take that chance real quick and, just be here and try it for the first time. On the count of 3, would you please just raise your hand and come join us up at the front? And we'll go ahead and have some volunteers, I'm hoping, if they can holler at me, support me. Come on. Thanks. We just want to go ahead and support you and love you and remind you that you may be going through all these hurts and all these problems, but it will get better. You just have to let God help you. So on the count of 3, please. 1, 2, 3. Anybody? Snap. Oops. Right. Hey, no worries. If you have anything going on in your life and you just feel like maybe sometimes you don't want to come up or anything like that, or if you just need somebody, always know that all the volunteers here and myself and anyone in this room would be more than happy to help you out if you ever need it. Just don't be afraid to come and ask. And definitely also do not be afraid to ask Jesus. So thank you guys for your time.